Good evening, and welcome to the 2026 Saugus Annual Town Meeting. Will everyone take their seats? We will begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance, and with us tonight we have the Saugus Youth Football and Cheer U10 Cheering Squad. They are the 2025 Regionals winners. They are the 2025 Nationals, placed third in the country. With us tonight are Hadley Nichols, Francesca Lincoln, and Ava Doherty. Will everyone please rise for our flag? Girls, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone can sit. Just a couple of instructions, please. Town meeting members, sit up front at the tables. All our other guests are in the back without the tables in regular seating. Please turn off your cell phones. At this time, we will be swearing in all the town meeting members. So town meeting, will you please rise? Raise your right hand. You will repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially perform all the duties imposed upon me by my election as a town meeting member in the town of Saugus, according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Saugus. So help me God. Congratulations. So at this time, we will take the next 15, 20 minutes. If you have already been sworn in by me, I think there's been 2 people, or if you your hand, I will need you all to come up and sign it off, please. You're going to put today's date, you will put your name, your signature, and you'll put your town meeting, TMNPCT, and then the number. Do not do the initial, that would be me. Everyone can start coming up. When we're done, we will continue.
to remember that.
We don't like blood.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yep. I did, so it was a law firm, but it was like an election agency for medical, and it was because it was people that couldn't afford to pay their bills, and this law firm would just keep taking them on, and I would have to call them, and it was all cases that were going to court, and it was, I didn't like it. They had something wrong with them. Like they were really sick. And they had this attorney chasing them. Yeah, I stayed there for probably like 2.5 years. I left in Auditorium. And I stayed there for until I was 20. I wonder it was like 5. Almost 26. I didn't do it. I never was. I didn't. So I went right from school. I like people already back then. They said, but girls in here did the guys that were the girls. But it was I mean, girls did go, but not really. So I went and did that, and then I was doing Steph?
Ben?
I don't know. What do you think?
It's nothing but turtle.
At this time, the Assistant Town Clerk, Stephanie Hardy, will do the roll call. I will let you know that Len Ferrari, Precinct 3, called this morning to let us know that he will try to be back by 8:30. He's coaching LaSalle University in Maine baseball, and he said he will try to be here by 8:30. He'll do his best. At this time, Stephanie, go right ahead.
Arsenal. Bartolo. Bell. Berube. Bonito. Camuso. Chaporis. Connors. Costello. Cross. Davis. DeMonte. Delios. DiFilippo. Doherty. Dunn. Fossey. Gill. Goodwin.
Hold on, Stephanie,
Oh,
wrong.
Wrong one. Gotcha.
It happens.
It's fine. Grabowski. Herman Dorrant. Hickman. Kelly. Lincoln. Lepresti. Malone. Manugian. Marchese. McCarthy. McCullough. Meredith. Michella. Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Parlante. Parziale. Rossetti. Shanna. Scazzarella. Shalkowski. Chaligan. Wallace. Whitcomb. Worthley.
Thank you, Stephanie. At this time, can I please have the tellers come up here so I can swear you into your duties tonight? Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to faithfully and impartially perform your duties as a teller for Saugus Town Meeting to the best of your abilities? Congratulations. Thank you. The first order of business this evening will be elect a town moderator. At this time, Town Council John Vassapoli will address you to outline the process by which the election will take place.
Madam Clerk, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. Under the provisions of Article 1, Section 6 of the Town Charter, after each election of town meeting members, one of said members shall be elected to serve as town moderator for a term of 2 years. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 14, provides that the town clerk shall preside over the town meeting until such time as the moderator is elected. The election of the moderator shall be by a majority vote of town meeting members present and voting. The election of the moderator shall be conducted by the town clerk in the following manner. The town clerk will accept nominations for town moderator from the floor. Each nomination shall be seconded by another town meeting member. At the conclusion of the nominations, the town meeting should vote to close the nominations. The town clerk will then call the roll, and each town meeting member may cast his vote for moderator. The candidate that obtains a majority of votes from town meeting members present and voting shall be elected moderator. In the event that none of the candidates nominated obtain a majority of the votes, the town clerk will conduct another ballot by roll call and will continue with successive ballots until such time as one of the candidates obtains the necessary majority vote. If any town meeting members has any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion regarding the process to elect a town moderator. That motion will be made that the Saugus Town Meeting will use the following process to elect a town moderator for the 2025 to 2027 term as outlined by Town Council. Do I have a motion by someone to accept this? Do I have a second? At this time, I will now open the floor for nominations for town moderator. Yes, sir.
I nominate Steve Doherty.
Can I have your name, sir?
Yeah, Joe.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other nominees for tonight's town moderator? At this time, I'd like to make, I'm sorry, I take that back. Do I have a second on Joe's? Thank you. Is there any other nominees for town moderator? Thank you. It's like you've done this before. All in favor of Steve Doherty as town moderator for 2025 to 2027, please state aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Doherty, congratulations.
Thank you. Yep. First of all, I'd like to thank you for affording me the opportunity to sit at the helm of this ship for the next 2 years. Again, I appreciate your confidence. Glad to see everybody made it through the winter. To our returning members, welcome back. To our new members, welcome aboard, and thank you for stepping up. At this time, we're going to take a quick 5-minute recess just so we can play some musical chairs and the town clerk can get set up on the other side here, and then we'll get on with the business before us. Thank you. All right, if everyone could find your seats, we'll get underway. Just one quick housekeeping issue here. At the opening of each new town meeting, not each meeting, but each session, as this is the first one of this year, what we do is read the town meeting code of conduct. It's just a couple of paragraphs here, and I'll run through this quickly. Number one, any person who is employed in any capacity, example, attorney, architect, broker, etc., by another interested in an article under discussion should disclose his or her employment in relationship before speaking. Any person who has a financial interest in an article under discussion should disclose his or her financial interest before speaking thereon. Any person who is the spouse, parent, child, brother, or sister of a person who has a financial interest in an article under discussion should disclose such relationship before speaking thereon. Any town meeting member who is referred to in the above paragraphs 1, 2, or 3 should consider a voluntary abstention from voting on the article in question. Notification of the abstention should, when possible, be given to the moderator in writing before the session in which the article is considered, but at least before debate on the article. However, this does not prohibit the member from voting if he or she feels that objectivity is not compromised. Any town meeting member moving reconsideration must have voted on the prevailing side and must so affirm for the motion in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and town meeting members should strive to allow all persons who can illuminate the issue at hand the opportunity to speak before moving the previous question. Thank you. All right, 1 second. Get out of here. All right, first order of business is normally accepting the minutes of the previous session. And while we do have copies of the minutes from the last meeting available, if anyone needs to review them, since a copy is posted on the town website shortly after each meeting for all to review, and knowing that you're all diligent about reviewing them online, if there's no objection, the minutes to the last session will be accepted by unanimous consent. Hearing none, the minutes are accepted as posted. When recognized to speak, I would ask all speakers to step up to the podium. Town meeting members will please state their name and precinct represented. Other town officers or employees just state your name and position in the town, and Saugus citizens state your name and address. This way, everybody at home can see and identify with who they're listening to. We will be observing the appropriate time limits for speakers per section 208 of the town bylaws. We have 46 articles on the annual warrant this year. Three of those articles require a recommendation from the planning board. It's my understanding that they'll be meeting on May 7th, so we should have those to discuss next week. We have 28 financial articles on the warrant and currently have recommendations from the Finance Committee on 7 of those. We also have 9 articles that don't require recommendations, so we have plenty to keep us busy tonight. All right, our next order of business tonight is Article 1, to hear and report on committees, starting with the Finance Committee. Ken?
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, the Finance Committee has started to review the ATM warrant articles, and as the moderator has stated, you have 7 of our recommendations in front of you. We hope that you'll support every one of our recommendations, and if there are any questions, I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Are there any other committees that wish to report out this evening? Okay, seeing none. At this time, I would entertain, normally for the new members, normally we go through the articles in order, the way they're listed on the warrant. The exception being sometimes we're waiting for recommendations on articles that we don't have yet, so we have to jump over those. Or sometimes as a courtesy, we may have someone in the audience who wants to speak on a particular issue, and we'll ask to take that out of order, get it out of the way early. But right now, at this time, I would entertain a motion to take Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 out of order, because we do have recommendations on those from the Finance Committee. Anyone? We have a motion to take Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 out of order. Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to make supplementary appropriations to be used in conjunction with money appropriated under Article 6 of the 2025 annual town meeting, the water enterprise, during the current fiscal year, and determine whether the money shall be provided by transfer from available funds or to see what other action the town wishes to take in the matter. The recommendation of the Finance Committee is for indefinite postponement on Article 4. And the reasoning for that, oftentimes the town, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but oftentimes the town manager will put items, because the warrant closes and things have to be in, before they sometimes know whether they're really necessary. So placeholders will be put in place. So in case there was money that needed to be appropriated, this article's already on the warrant. But then when it came time to make that determination, it turns out the article wasn't necessary, so that they reported such to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee moves for indefinite postponement. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to indefinitely postpone Article 4. So moved. Do I have a second? All right, all in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation for indefinite postponement on Article 4, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Article 4 is indefinitely postponed. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to make supplementary appropriations to be used in conjunction with money appropriated under Article 7 of the 2025 annual town meeting, sewer enterprise, during the current fiscal year, and determine whether the money shall be provided by transfer from available funds, or to see what other action the town wishes to take in the matter. Once again, and for the same reason, we have a recommendation from the Finance Committee for indefinite postponement on Article 5. Do I have a second? All right, so all in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation for indefinite postponement on Article 5 signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 5 is indefinitely postponed. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of money for the purpose of funding unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year. Finance Committee recommendation. The Finance Committee voted that the town appropriate $14,264.84 for the purpose of funding unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year. The source of funding is fiscal year 2025 Municipal Department General Fund carryover in the amount of $10,864.84, fiscal year 2025 Sewer Enterprise Fund carryover in the amount of $315, and fiscal year 2026 School Department General Fund operating budget in the amount of $3,085. Do I have a second on the Finance Committee's recommendation? All right, Finance Committee's recommendation is moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Manager.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is the first town meeting, so there's probably some new town meeting members. Figured I'd just, if you didn't get a chance to see the Finance Committee hearing, these are bills from a prior year that we're covering. So basically, this is what's required for us to do, like when we, the accounting and finance put out flyers, put out feelers to have information and all the bills sent in. Sometimes they don't all come in. And so then what we have to do is take this up at the next town meeting to pay for those bills that occurred in the prior year, and we didn't get them in time. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer that. I think it sounded like I got straightened out, but there was somebody that parked right here where the air conditioner, the generator is. It's like a Subaru, looks like, and the alarm was going off. So hopefully that gets straightened out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on Article 6? All right, all in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation that the town vote to appropriate $14,264.84 for the purpose of funding unpaid bills for a prior fiscal year. Source of funding is fiscal year 2025 Municipal Department General Fund carryover in the amount of $10,864.84. Fiscal year 2025 Sewer Enterprise Fund carryover in the amount of $315. And fiscal year 2026 School Department General Fund operating budget in the amount of $3,085. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Article 6 has passed. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to appropriate a sum of money from available funds in the Transportation Infrastructure Fund to be expended in accordance with Act ST 2016, Chapter 187, Section 8CA, and Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53. The Finance Committee voted to recommend the town appropriate the sum of $37,849 to be expended in accordance with Chapter 187 of the Acts of 2016, Section 8CI, and Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53. The source of funding is Transportation Infrastructure Fund. Do I have a second on Article 7? All right, we have the Finance Committee's recommendation moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a self-explanatory, I think, but sometimes questions come up with this. These are monies that are allocated to the towns and cities for share rides. And the way it's set up now is anything above $25,000 needs an appropriation from town meeting. It's likely that this will probably change in the near future because $25,000 when it first started out was quite a bit of money. Now it's in full swing, so it continues to grow in small increments, but I think it'll grow over the years. Uber and Lyft seem to be quite a used a lot more than it was when it first started. So this is just an appropriation so that DPW can use that for some of the road infrastructure. It's a small amount, but they use it to try to supplement some of the things that we need in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on Article 7? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation that the town appropriate the sum of $37,849 to be expended in accordance with Chapter 87 of the Acts of 2016, Section 8, CI, and Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53. The source of funding is the Transportation Infrastructure Fund. Signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 7 has passed. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to authorize an amount to be expended from each of the revolving funds listed below and authorized under the Town of Saugus bylaws as amended April 19, 2018, as Section 405, Department Revolving Funds for the ensuing fiscal year 2027. Those funds are the Saugus Senior Center Programs and Activities, the Saugus Senior Center Lunch Program, the Water System Cross-Connection Program, the Town of Saugus Compost Program, and the Youth and Recreation Programs and Activities. Finance Committee voted to recommend the town authorize an amount to be expended for each of the revolving funds listed below under the Town of Saugus bylaws as amended April 9, 2018, as Section 405, Department Revenue Revolving Funds, Departmental Revolving Funds, for the ensuing fiscal year 2027. And the amounts are Saugus Senior Center Programs and Activities, $50,000, Saugus Senior Center Lunch Program, $25,000, Water System Cross-Connection Program, Backflow, $40,000, Town of Saugus Compost Program, Recycling Facility, $50,000, and Youth and Recreation Programs and Activities, $195,000. Do I have a second on the Finance Committee's recommendation for Article 8? Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Manager.
Thank you again, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. These are the revolving funds. We have to do these every year. For those who have been on town meeting for many years, you'll know that it used to be just the opposite. We would have to vote to authorize the revolving funds. Now they changed that a few years back where the revolving funds are automatically authorized. It's the amount of total expenditures that needs to be voted by town meeting. So these are sort of the housekeeping articles, and hope you support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on Article 8? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation to vote to authorize $50,000 for the Saugus Senior Center Programs and Activities, $25,000 for the Saugus Senior Center Lunch Program, $40,000 for the Water System Cross-Connection Program, Backflow, $50,000 for the Town of Saugus Compost Program, Recycling Facility, and $195,000 for the Youth and Recreation Programs and Activities to be expended from each of these funds as authorized under the Town of Saugus bylaws as amended April 9, 2018 as Section 405. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? And Article 8 has passed. At this time, we don't have a recommendation on Article 9 as yet from the Finance Committee. We're awaiting that, so I would make a motion I would entertain a motion to take Article 10 out of order. We have a motion to take Article 10 out of order. Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of money for the purpose of repairing or replacing town water hydrants and valves, including payment of costs incidental or related thereto, to determine whether this appropriation shall be raised by borrowing or otherwise, or to take any other action relative thereto. And the Finance Committee voted to recommend the town appropriate $300,000 for the purpose of repairing or replacing town water hydrants and valves. The source of funding is July 1st, 2025 certified free cash. Do I have a second on the Finance Committee's recommendation for Article 10? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 10 is, this is part of a long-term capital plan where we do pay-as-you-go, and we use certified free cash to try to work on some of the hydrants and valves. When we have water breaks, some of the valves are older, so we try to have a list of those replaced so that when we do have a water break, we're able to isolate that so that it minimizes the impact to the residents without water for a period of time, as well as any of the hydrants that need to be replaced. So we sort of, they come up with a list that they're working off, they put it out to bid, and then have a little bit of this work done each year so that it doesn't pile up, and then 30 years from now we say, you know, we have so many problems with the valves and hydrants. That's sort of what we've been doing over the last 15 years, so we'll continue to do this, and that helps fund it. Hope you support this article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on Article 10? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation to appropriate $300,000 for the purpose of repairing or replacing town water hydrants and valves? The source of funding is July 1st, 2025 certified free cash. Signify by saying aye. All opposed? Article 10 has passed. Seeing that we are still awaiting a recommendation on Article 11, at this time I would entertain a motion to take Article 12 out of order. All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, all in favor, Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of money for the purpose of repairing or replacing town guardrails, including payment of costs incidental or related thereto, to determine whether this appropriation shall be raised by borrowing or otherwise, or to take any other action relative thereto. Finance Committee voted to recommend the town appropriate $150,000 for the purpose of repairing or replacing town guardrails. The source of funding is July 1st, 2025 certified free cash. Do I have a second on the Finance Committee's recommendation? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion, Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 12 is similar to the valves and hydrants. This is the same thing. We do a little bit of work each year, and it's a pay-as-you-go capital improvement plan regarding the guardrails. And sometimes this brings questions as well, but just sort of give an explanation is that there's plenty of guardrails out in Saugus. There's lots of them that are, you know, damaged or in need of repair, so we try to look at doing some of those. We also have hit and runs where we're not able to locate the vehicle that caused the damage. If we are able to do that, we have a system within the police where they mark that in the accident, and then we follow up with the insurance to collect on those. But if we don't, then obviously we have to repair those. And then sometimes there's areas where we put newer guardrails in. So that's, it's not a lot of money, but it's enough to kind of keep the plan going so that we chip away at it each year. So I hope you support the article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. All right, any further discussion on Article 12? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation to appropriate $150,000 for the purpose of repairing or replacing town guardrails? The source of funding is July 1st, 2025 certified free cash. Please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, Article 12 has passed. All right, with that, that's, we jump ahead now. At this time, I would entertain a motion to take Articles 30 and 31 out of order. All right, we have a motion to take Articles 30 and 31 out of order. Do I have a second? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Article 30. Mr. Manugian moves Article 30 for consideration to see if the town will vote for a town policy on speed tables and traffic calming devices. Introduction. We, the 5 town meeting members of Precinct 10, hereby wish to enlist the support of our fellow town meeting members to request the Board of Selectmen, acting in their capacity as Saugus Traffic Commissioners, to develop a policy that would outline the procedures for implementing speed tables and/or other traffic calming devices. Rationale for traffic calming measures: we believe that properly placed and designed speed tables and traffic calming devices can serve as effective tools in specific circumstances to reduce vehicular speeds and discourage cut-through traffic on residential streets. These measures can help address concerns related to traffic safety and enhance the quality of life for residents. Considerations for policy development. We recognize the importance of a thorough evaluation process before installing speed tables. The town must weigh the benefits of such installations by carefully assessing traffic data, emergency response times, and the locations of municipal, educational, recreational, and other pedestrian and motorist attractors. The evaluation should be balanced against the overall impact on the quality of life for all residents of Saugus. Policy scope and implementation. The proposed policy should clearly outline the procedures for determining when, where, and how speed tables and other calming devices will be installed within the town of Saugus. This framework will ensure consistency and transparency in the decision-making process. Cost and community benefit. We acknowledge that there may be associated costs with developing and implementing such a policy, as well as with the installation of these devices. However, we believe that the resulting improvements in public safety and residential quality of life will provide sufficient justification for these expenses. Do I have a second on Mr. Manugian's article, Article 30? All right, Article 30 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Manugian, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moderator, members of the board, town manager, members of the public, this proposal was a result of the 5 precinct town meeting members meeting at the home of our high school principal. She had great cookies that night, I remember. And we heard about what citizens in the precinct were concerned about. And in particular, there was a gentleman on Bristow Street that was adamant and persistent about speeding and the resultant safety hazards near the Bristow playground and so forth. So in collaboration, we decided that and recognize that it's really the Board of Selectmen that are the traffic commissioners in the town, and the town meeting does not have the authority to implement traffic rules and regulations. The Board of Selectmen does. So this is basically a suggestion to the Board of Selectmen to implement a policy so that calming devices such as speed tables, such as that we have in front of the combined high school, middle school, that really regulates traffic, it slows it down, that there be a policy in place. And we envisioned that places such as in front of Bristow Park, Bucheri Park, the Veterans Memorial School would be a location where we have crossing and so forth, and perhaps on Dow Street. But it really would be up to the Board of Selectmen to develop a policy. And we want to be careful that you just can't stop putting these things on Central Street, Lincoln Avenue, Essex Street, and so forth. It has to be a well-thought-out policy, and the town of Sharon has such a policy, if you want to look at that. So we're cognizant of the fact that there may be expenses associated with this. They may need consulting services, and basically your vote of affirmation would recognize that the selectmen may come back for an appropriation to do such. And if such a policy is developed, it's a process where there would have to be, they set up the rubber hose, they do traffic counts and so forth. There's a whole methodology involved. It just can't be someone coming forward and say, hey, I want one on my street. So again, it's a collaboration. There had to be one name on this, but all 5 town meeting members are proposing this. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Thank you, Mr. Manugian. Any further discussion on Article 30? Yes, Mr. Serino.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly support that policy. Unfortunately, the town has grown. A lot of cars parked on the street, but most importantly, that Saugus is a cut-through community. Whether you're talking about people who come from Route 107 up Ballard, Winter, through Main Street, Saugus Center, or Lincoln Ave, from Route 1 through Lincoln Ave, through Clifton Hill into Lynn, even Hamilton Street. So I think it's good to try to get a policy in place now, then we can look at the details later on what to do once a commission or board is set up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Any further discussion on Article 30? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the question. Yes. Mr. Pallanti.
My question is, I mean, this is just a suggestion, and if we pass it, basically just telling the select board that we want this. What is the timeline on this? Because I have neighbors now that, I mean, my neighborhood is a really dangerous cut-through. So what are we looking at for a timeline to put a policy like this in place? That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Pallanti. Mrs. Manugian?
To address that, you know, it's the policy-making realm in terms of traffic is squarely with the Board of Selectmen, and they have so much on their plate that I don't think we considered, let's get this done by the next annual town meeting. I think if the vote of town meeting is hopefully overwhelming on this thing, I think they'd get to work on it right away. I don't know if the chairman or any members want to address this, but I can't imagine that they would let it go by the wayside. It is a process. They would have to get consultative services, and to try to restrict the time frame on that, we didn't think was appropriate. It really didn't come up in our discussion. I would hope, again, that if it's overwhelming support, that they would get to work on it right away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manugian. Any further discussion on Article 30? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to call for the question. All in favor of Article 30 as presented, to enlist the support of town meeting members, basically to request the Board of Selectmen, acting in their capacity as traffic commissioners, develop a policy that would outline procedures for implementing speed tables or other traffic devices. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Article 31 is passed. One sec. Article 30 has passed. My bad. All right. Ms. Nuzzo proposes Article 31 for consideration to see if the town will vote to establish a vacant school facilities assessment committee to evaluate vacant school buildings owned by the town of Saugus, including but not limited to the former Lyndhurst, Waybright, Oaklandvale, Ballard, Roby schools, and any other vacant school properties owned by the town. Said committee shall assess the structural condition of such buildings, identify environmental hazards, including asbestos or other remediation concerns, determine the annual cost of the town for maintenance, utilities, insurance, security, and related expenses for each such property, evaluate, estimated costs associated with demolition, environmental remediation, or rehabilitation of such buildings, explore potential redevelopment opportunities, leasing options, or alternative municipal uses, identify state, federal, and other funding opportunities, including brownfield remediation or redevelopment programs, including but not limited to the Massachusetts Brownfields Redevelopment Fund or similar environmental remediation programs, and report its findings and recommendations to the Board of Selectmen and town meeting. Said committee shall consist of 5 town meeting members. The sponsor of this article shall serve as a member, with remaining members being chosen by lottery. 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, 1 member of the Finance Committee, 1 citizen member chosen by sponsor with building and planning experience, and the town planner, or take any other action relative thereto. Do I have a second on Article 31? All right, Article 31 is moved and seconded. Before we go into discussion, I just want to read, not on this particular article, but on, I do have some, a letter here from the town council with his opinion on some of the articles and whether or not they're proper. And one that's mentioned here is Article 32, which we're not discussing at the moment, but it's kind of linked to Article 31, so I just want to read this opinion going in. On Article 30, this is from Town Council John Vassapoli. On Article 32 is an article to require the town manager to prepare and present a report to the Board of Selectmen and the town meeting detailing the costs associated with vacant school buildings owned by the town. This article is not proper and should not be voted to adopt, as said article contradicts the powers and duties of the town manager set forth in the town charter. Under the provisions of Article 2, Section 13H of the town charter, the town manager has jurisdiction over the rental and use of all town property and is responsible for the maintenance and repair of all town buildings, including school buildings. The town meeting has the authority to appropriate town funds, adopt bylaws, and accept statutes, but has no authority to require or direct the town manager to take any action. And I'm reading that ahead of Article 32, because I noted in Article 31 here, it does say for the committee will report its findings back to the Board of Selectmen and town meeting. I just want to make sure the town meeting members understand that neither of those two bodies is in a position to act on those recommendations, because that falls within the jurisdiction of the town manager. But with that said, do we have any further discussion on Article 31? Yes. If you have some handouts, the tellers can assist you with that. Yep, passing those out while you step up to the microphone. Thank you, Ms. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, and I apologize that I have to read from my phone as I forgot the printed speech that I had, so give me one moment. This article is simple, it is practical, and quite honestly, it is long overdue. Right now, the town of Saugus owns multiple vacant school properties: the Ballard, Oaklandville, Waybright, Lyndhurst, Evans, and the Roby. 6 properties, 6 publicly owned assets that have been sitting idle for years, not repurposed, not fully evaluated, and not part of any clear actionable plan. And while they sit there, they continue to cost us money. They continue to deteriorate, and they continue to represent missed opportunity. Establishing a committee can change that. And importantly, this isn't just some great idea that I came up with, it's already in our town's own master plan. Over and over again, the plan calls for fully utilizing town-owned buildings, conducting space and facility assessments, creating strategies for surplus properties, exploring adaptive reuse of former school buildings, even specifically identifying schools like the Waybright as opportunities for future community use. Now, if you have the handout I provided, I want you to take a look at it, because everything I'm going to say is not opinion. It is directly from our own town's master plan. Right at the top, bullet point number 1 is from page 9 of the master plan. Goal 3 states, ensure all town-owned buildings and property are fully and efficiently used. That's not my goal, that's the town's goal, and right now, we are not meeting it. If you look further down to number 3, which is pages 125 and 126 of the master plan, you'll see the 6 schools highlighted, all identified as surplus buildings, no data or just blank. And notably, there is no data listed for condition or deficiencies. That alone should concern every single one of us. We own these buildings and we don't even have complete documented information on them. And I want to address something up front because I know it may be raised. There have been past discussions, efforts, and even a committee for at least one of these buildings, specifically the Ballard. But what we do not have today is a formal, comprehensive professional assessment of this property, not a documented structural evaluation, not a full environmental review, not a complete cost analysis. And I specifically asked for that documentation, and based on the communication, it does not exist in any formal, reportable way. And I say that not to dismiss prior efforts, but to highlight the gap. Because if prior work resulted in no clear documentation, no unified findings, and ultimately no action, then it didn't solve the problem, and that tells us exactly why we are still here today, years later, with these buildings still sitting unused. Now, if you go back to your handout to number 4, which is page 136 of the master plan, it specifically references the need for a new youth and rec location and specifically highlights the Waybright as a potential location. On the back side of your handout, number 6 is pages 180 to 181. The master plan explicitly calls for asset management policies for surplus properties, public input on reuse of these exact schools, and most importantly, a full space needs analysis assessing building condition, usage, and financial costs. That is exactly what this article does. Not something new, something we were already told to do. And it goes even further. Number 8 is page 209. Action 1.1.2 and 1.1.4 literally state, we should conduct an inventory of underutilized or vacant town-owned properties and evaluate buildings like the Ballard, Evans, and Roby for potential reuse. So I'll ask a very simple question. If our master plan has been telling us to do this for years, why haven't we? We talk a lot about planning in this town, but planning without execution is just paperwork. And these buildings are the perfect example of that. Doing nothing is not neutral. Doing nothing is a decision. It's a decision to let these buildings decline. It's a decision to continue spending money with no return. It's a decision to ignore opportunities for recreational space, community use, or economic development. This committee changes that. This article doesn't assume outcomes. It gives us the information we need to finally create a plan. It establishes a process, a real process, one that requires structural assessments, environmental evaluations, true cost analysis of what we are spending annually, exploration of reuse, redevelopment, or demolition, and identification of real funding opportunities like state and federal grants. Because those opportunities do exist, like the EPA Brownfield grant, to mention one of just several. But we cannot access them without doing this work first. We don't have a lack of ideas in this town, we have a lack of execution. This committee changes that. It brings together town meeting members, selectmen, finance committee, and planning expertise to produce real findings, real recommendations, and bring them back to this body so we can finally make informed decisions. This article does not lock us into any one path. It gives us information, it gives us options, and most importantly, it gives us a path forward. We have 6 properties sitting there right now. The longer we wait, the more they cost us, the fewer options we have, and the harder it becomes to turn them into something that benefits our residents. I urge you to support this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nuzzo. Any further discussion on Article 31? Yep. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, Mr. DiFilippo.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Joe DeFilippo, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 4. I want to rise in support of what my colleague from Precinct 10 just presented. As town meeting members, one of our most fundamental responsibilities is ensuring the town is being a responsible steward of public assets. These vacant school buildings represent a real cost to Saugus taxpayers. And frankly, any of us who drive by it knows that they're an eyesore that do nothing for our neighborhoods or our community's image. But here's what I believe. These properties don't have to be a liability. They have real potential to become something that genuinely benefits the people of Saugus. We just need the information and the plan to get there. I believe that Article 31 gives us that picture, and that's not bureaucracy, that's accountability. And that's exactly what the residents of Saugus deserve. So I urge from each of you a strong yes on this article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiFilippo. Any further discussion? Mr. Federico.
Selectman Frank Federico. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Town Manager, Town Council, and all the members of the town meeting. I wanted to get up and speak in favor of this article. This is something that I do actually strongly support. I've spoken to residents across all 10 precincts. This is something that impacts them all equally, and it's something that our town has seen as an eyesore for quite some time. There's been quite a bit of discussion in regards to this, and I think that this is the perfect launching spot to get the conversation rolling. I'd even go as far as volunteering for one of the selectman positions for Ms. Nuzzo's article if it does pass. Again, this is just to open the conversation in regards to the abandoned schools. I believe that knowledge is power. I never want to speak for the town manager, but I would think that the information provided to him would give him a better understanding and more knowledge in order to execute his duties to the fullest. So I ask of all of you to please vote in favor of this article. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Federico. Any further discussion on Article 31? Yes, Mr. Manoogian, and then Mr. Grabowski right behind you. Oh.
Mr. Moderator, my amendment that I'm proposing is that the town manager or his designee be a member of this committee. Under our charter, the town manager is responsible for buildings and maintenance of those buildings. So it seems to me that if this information that my colleague wishes to obtain, it would be appropriate to have the person responsible for these buildings, the position responsible, be involved with this committee. So I would hope that my colleague would support and allow for the manager to be a member of this committee, or his designee, if that's what I wrote. Thank you.
All right. We have an amendment to Article 31 presented to add as a member of the committee the town manager or his designee. I don't know that we have the authority to appoint people to committees outside of town meeting. Because honestly, another question that came up in my mind on this, I know we have one of the Board of Selectmen has already said, yes, I'd be happy to be a part of that, so we have obviously have a volunteer there. But we have a 9-member Finance Committee meeting. I appoint the Finance Committee as the moderator, but I don't have the authority to tell someone on the Finance Committee, you need to serve on this other committee in town. You know what I mean? That's, so we don't, I can ask certainly if there are any volunteers, but we can't necessarily appoint someone from that. And I think the same would apply here. We could certainly request that the town manager or his designee be part of the committee, but not as a required member, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And I see the town attorney nodding in agreement, so I think we're on the same page. But anyway, on the amendment to amend Article 31 by adding the town manager or his designee, do I have a second on that? All right, so it's moved and seconded. All in favor of adding the town manager or his designee as suggested members for the committee? Signify by saying, what's that? I'm sorry. You know what, Ms. Nuzzle, if you would come up to the microphone, we'll.
Thank you. So on the committee, I included the town planner because I figured that would be the town, like the designee, and that's not available, then the idea would be, yes, the town manager. So I'm okay with this amendment, but I just wanted to note that I did add a town planner on there as a town designee. So that was included. I'm not entirely sure if we have one at the moment, but I'm willing to amend the language to say it differently if that's the case. Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we're just calling for a vote on whether to accept the amendment and add in the town manager or his designee. I have no? Okay. So all in favor of the amendment, we're not voting on the article, but the amendment to Article 31 to add that language to include the town manager or his designee on the committee participation list, signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, so the amendment has passed. Now, is there any further discussion on Article 31 as amended? Mr. Grabowski.
Arthur Grabowski, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 8. Mr. Moderator, fellow Town Meeting members. I have several questions about this particular article, and I reference the report from the Town Council on Article 32, and it says that this article is not proper and should not be voted to adopt, as such article contradicts the powers and duties of the town manager set forth in the town charter. And I believe that the town manager is the sole responsible person for all town buildings. And I believe that the town manager can take bids and take information on leasing and usage of town property, but with the approval of the Board of Selectmen. So
I think that this particular article is out of order. My second question is, if I'm not mistaken, and I might ask the town moderator or town council, if a committee is appointed or voted by this town meeting, isn't it the jurisdiction of the town moderator to take people's names and put them on these committees, not a town meeting member's responsibility?
It all depends on how it's spelled out in the article. Committees can be put together various ways. If it didn't spell out otherwise, then it would fall upon the moderator to appoint the members of the committee. And again, I only have the authority to appoint those people within town meeting. But if it's spelled out differently in the article, it could be arranged differently.
And I don't want to take the responsibility away from the town manager. We have a very adequate town manager who has done well in this town. And certainly we do have some buildings that need to be addressed, but I believe that's within the jurisdiction of the town manager. I believe he has the capability of doing that. And my last comment is, in the wording of this article, it says, said committee shall assess the structural condition of such buildings. I do not see any person that can be on this committee that has the professional expertise to go about assessing the structural condition of such buildings. And there are other articles, environmental hazards. I believe that there is a cost associated with this article, and I do not see any way of providing funds from the town to implement this particular article. You're going to need professional expertise, and I don't think too many people in this audience have that professional expertise to make a concerted effort to understand and to come back with a proper recommendation to this town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grabowski. Any further discussion? Mr. Cogliano.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members. I applaud the efforts of the new town meeting member for bringing this up. Question to you, town council. I served on the Ballard Committee. We come up with the term, the Ballard Gardens. That was put forth by a town meeting member from Precinct 10. I was a member of that committee. Selectman Riley was also a member of that committee. What is the difference here than that committee? Nothing. Okay, so we've done this before. We've put together a committee. We've made recommendations. The town manager or his designee were also a member of that committee. I see this as being the exact same thing. This body has done it, and I think it's the right thing to do. Again, the manager has the final say on this, but it's certainly getting the ball rolling, and those buildings have been sitting here. I don't see any harm in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cogliano.
One more point. I'd be happy to serve on that committee.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion on Article 31? 1 second, Ms. Shalkowski.
Thank you. Stephanie Shalkowski, Precinct 4. I understand the spirit of this and the intent of this, but when I read this, this looks like a professional services contract. The scope is just so big and so wide, and I appreciate that there was a committee before for the Roby School. I would be curious what that structure looked like, what the tasks for that committee were, and if the committee existed before and nothing was done, then what's the intervention this time in order for something to be done? I just think this is so wide. There's so many buildings on here, and I do applaud the effort. Like, I think these are good questions for us to consider, and I'm glad that you brought it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shalkowski. Mr. Costello, and then back to you, Ms. Nuzzo.
Good evening. Martin Costello, Precinct 10. And if I could just make a little addendum to Selectman Cogliano and his statement. We did do this in Precinct 10. we formed a committee, and it was composed of the Precinct 10 town meeting members, and we worked with Selectman Cogliano as the process evolved. And I can recall one particular time we needed to know the condition of the building. We had ideas about the possibilities, and it was Selectman Cogliano that informed us about the asbestos that was in the building and what that was going to entail. But my point is primarily here, I'm going to try to ask you to focus on the abutters. These are the people that live right around the immediate areas of these buildings. And they need to be having a voice on what we, as a committee, decide we want to see happen on this property. As Mr. Cogliano said, we refer it to now where Ballard School is as Ballard Gardens. That's what we would like to see someday. And that's what the majority of the abutters to that school told us that they wanted to see. So the idea of picking 5 town meeting members, I think the town meeting members that are going to be intrinsically involved with this are the town meeting members that reside in the place, in the precinct where that particular school building exists, and speaking with their neighbors. And this does not do that, okay? So that's my point, and we'll see how this goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. Ms. Nuzzo, please.
Thank you all for your feedback. I'm going to try to answer everything that was brought up. One thing I do want to note is the difference between this and what was done previously is this committee is being formed so that we can get an actual physical assessment of these buildings. That way we can understand if any of them can be rehabilitated and reused, or do they have to be demolished? Are they unsavable? Now, someone said that, you know, where's the money for this? Well, I've done a lot of research, and there's grants available that actually pay for the assessment of properties. Yes, there's 6 of them, which is a lot, but the idea to put a committee together to sort of prioritize and maybe timeline out like a plan on each building would do that. And there's been Massachusetts towns like Lowell, Spencer, Fitchburg who have used these grants for very similar reasons. And there's several available, not only just for the assessment, but once we do have an actual assessment, there are different grants available for the rehabilitation. Now, I'm not trying to take over and dictate any one said plan for these buildings. I primarily want to know where they stand and if they can be reused. If that's the case, then later that something else can be done to actually get the use out there. But this is to get the ball rolling with seeing where these buildings physically stand and what types of costs are associated with them. So can they be reused, or do they have to be demolished? I understand the whole Ballard Gardens idea was out there, and I'm not looking to find a new purpose for the Ballard. That is not the intent of this. It really is to just start physically assessing these properties. Yes, it's a lot of work, but we've been sitting on these for years. So when's it gonna be the right time to do it, right? And I understand this is the town manager's, he's in charge of buildings. This isn't to take that from him. We're not dictating anything that is going to be done. It is just to gather some data that can be used to make actual recommendations or uses of these buildings. And if we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nuzzo. Any further discussion on Article 31? Yes, Mr. Delios.
Good evening, Peter Delios, Precinct 10. I support my colleague fully in Precinct 10. I believe it's a good study. I also supported my other colleague in Precinct 10, Mr. Manoogian, when we went forward with the Ballard Gardens. We drew up plans with Mr. Rich, and the plans were beautiful. It would have been a great place for all Saugonians to go and enjoy. And I believe that we have been sitting a little too long on some of these schools. And how much longer are we going to sit on them? the asbestos continues to grow in the schools. The rats probably continue to fest in some of them. And then we got to continue to plow them throughout the year, maintain. It's time to move on from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delios. Mr. Federico.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I just want to address a couple of the concerns that I just heard. The first being a professional assessment. I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse on this. I think this is just to get the discussion going. And in that time, I think we should be looking to the community, the town meeting members, and the like. For instance, I know there's a licensed plumber who's a town meeting member. I know there's building officials. And myself, I hold a Massachusetts unrestricted construction supervisor's license. I'd be more than willing to offer an opinion. I'm sure some of the other community members would be willing to do the same. I think there's a licensed union electrician in the audience or in the town meeting as well. So we do have the capacity to go forward with this and start the conversation. Later on down the road, I'm sure that we may have to be readdressed and continue the conversation and look at funding, but I don't see funding being an issue to get the conversation going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Federico. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Manugian.
Peter Manugian, Precinct 10. I didn't say that before. How can you say no to the enthusiasm that my colleague has shown? I'm supporting this. It's a ton of work. I did it in 1985 on the Cliftondale School when a selectman wanted to sell it for $1 over the highest bid to his friend, and we stopped it in town meeting. And we rented it out to the Shore Collaborative. But the type of enthusiasm that I hear will carry this forward. I think she'll do the right thing. I think she will include the town manager in the process. And I'm looking forward to the work being done. And I don't want to be on the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manugian, for unvolunteering. Mr. Serino.
How you doing? Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have any problem with the article, but I just want the general public out there to know the board's position on these schools. We've said publicly that we do not want to sell these schools. We want to keep them for the town, and we also want to have public hearings before we decide what to do with these school buildings. And we might want to keep one of them or two of them as they are, to maybe have to reopen them if enrollment increases in town. And, you know, we also have to look at all the other financial concerns that we have, the Northeast Regional School Assessment, the construction cost. If school enrollment increases over at the Vogue, our construction costs also increases too. We have a West Side Public Safety Building. The vacant school properties is on my list. We need to look at them. Parks and playgrounds, the parking lot at Cliftondale Square, sustaining school funding. This year alone, we're increasing the school budget by $4.2 million and maintaining our reserves so we keep our bond rating up there. So that's just for the public at home too tonight. You just need to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Further discussion on Article 31? All right, seeing none, we'll call for the question. 1 second here, hold on. All in favor of Article 31 as presented and amended to have the town, sure, to have the town establish a vacant school facilities assessment committee to evaluate vacant school buildings owned by the town of Saugus, including but not limited to the former Lyndhurst, Waybright, Oaklandville, Ballard, Roby School, and any other vacant school properties owned by the town. Made up of 5 town meeting members, including the sponsor, 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, 1 member of the Finance Committee, 1 citizen member chosen by the sponsor with building and planning experience, the town manager and the town planner, I'm sorry, and the town manager or his designee. So all in favor, the clerk, we have a request for a roll call vote. The clerk is going to call the roll. If you're in favor of Article 31 as amended, signify by saying yes. If you're opposed to Article 31 as amended, signify by saying no. And Madam Clerk?
Arsenal. Bartolo. Bell. Berube. Bonito. Camuso. Chaporis. Connors. Costello. Cross. Davis. Delios. DeMonte. DiFilippo. Dunn. Fossey. Ferrari is not here. He did not make it. Gill. Goodwin. Grabowski. Herman Durant. Hickman. Kelly. Lincoln. Lepresti. Malone. Manugian. Marchese. McCarthy. McCullough. Meredith. Michella. Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Parlente. Parziali. Rossetti. Shanna. Scazzarella, I am sorry. Yes. Shelkowski. Taligan. Wallace. Whitcomb. Worthley. 48 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent.
One sec. Article 31 is passed. All right, moving ahead. Ms. Nuzzo moves Article 32 for consideration to see if the town will vote to require the town manager to prepare and present a report to the Board of Selectmen and town meeting detailing the costs associated with vacant school buildings owned by the town, including but not limited to the former Lyndhurst, Waybright, Oaklandville, Ballard, Roby School, and any other vacant or unused school properties. Said report shall include the current condition of each building, the annual cost to the town for utilities, maintenance, insurance, security, and any other expenses associated with maintaining each such property, any known environmental hazards or remediation concerns, including asbestos, estimated costs associated with demolition, environmental remediation, or rehabilitation of each such property, any plans currently under consideration for the future use, development, or disposition of such properties. Said report shall be presented to the Board of Selectmen and town meeting within 6 months, or take any other action relative thereto. Do I have a second on Article 32? Yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Well, we just need to bring it on the floor for discussion, and then we can deal with that issue. But do I have a second on Article 32? All right, Article 32 made and seconded. Again, I do have an opinion by the town council saying that it says Article 32 is an article to require the town manager to prepare and present a report to the Board of Selectmen in the town meeting detailing the costs associated with vacant school buildings owned by the town. This article is not proper and should not be voted to adopt, as said article contradicts the powers and duties of the town manager set forth in the town charter. Under the provisions of Article 2, Section 13H of the town charter, the town manager has jurisdiction over all the rental and use of all town property and is responsible for the maintenance and repairs of all town buildings, including school buildings. The town meeting has the authority to appropriate town funds, adopt bylaws, and accept statutes, but has no authority to require or direct the town manager to take any action. So with that opinion, I would entertain a motion for indefinite postponement on Article 32. Yes. What's that? We have a motion before us to refer Article 32 back to the maker. Do I have a second on that motion? All right. Any discussion on the motion to refer back to the maker? Yes.
Where we just asked that the Article 31 committee include the manager, there is now that opportunity for that, to get that information to the committee through the manager. So I think that it would be redundant to support this, and I think that's the appropriate motion to do, is to refer it back because you've resolved it by accepting that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. Any further discussion on the motion to refer Article 32 back to the maker? Hearing none, all in favor of referring Article 32 back to the maker signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Article 32 is referred. I need 1 second. Here we go. All right, Article 33. Give me 1 second. Nope. Sorry here, just gotta make sure I'm on the right page. All right, Ms. Marchese proposes Article 33 to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Saugus bylaws by adding a new section regulating the operation of electric bicycles and motorized micromobility devices within the town or take any other action relative thereto. Section 1, Purpose. The purpose of this bylaw is to promote public safety and protect pedestrians by regulating the operation of electric bicycles and similar motorized devices on public ways, sidewalks, parks, school property, and other municipal property within the town. Section 2, Definitions. Electric bike, bicycle, e-bike, a bicycle equipped with operable pedals and an electric motor of less than 750 watts, consistent with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 85, Section 11B. E-bike classes. Class 1, pedal assist only, motor assistance stops at 20 miles per hour. Class 2, throttle assisted, motor can propel the bicycle up to 20 miles per hour without pedaling. Class 3, pedal assist only, motor assistance stops at 28 miles per hour. Nothing in this bylaw shall be interpreted to conflict with or supersede the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws governing bicycles or motorized bicycles. Motorized micromobility device, a device powered by an electric motor designed to transport one or more persons, including electric scooters or similar devices. 1 second. If the operator is under 18 years of age, a parent or guardian may be notified. Section 8, Safety Education Requirements for Minors. If an operator under the age of 18 commits a second violation of this bylaw, the police department may require the operator to complete a bicycle or electric bicycle safety education program approved by the police department prior to the return of the impounded device or further operation on public ways within the town. Proof of completion of the safety... Wait a minute. 7? Oh, I'm sorry. No, my bad. 1 second. Thank you for catching that. Backing up here a second. Motorized micromobility device, a device powered by an electric motor designed to transport one or more persons, including electric scooters or similar devices. A public way is any street, roadway, sidewalk, municipal park, trail, school property, or other property owned, leased, or maintained by the town. Section 3, Operation. Electric bicycles may be operated on public roadways and designated bicycle lanes in accordance with Massachusetts law. Electric bicycles are motorized micromobility devices shall not be operated on sidewalks located in areas designated by the town or the chief of police as posted high pedestrian traffic areas, on municipal park property where bicycles are prohibited, on school grounds during school hours unless authorized by school officials or any adopted school policy addressing the same. Operators shall yield the right of way to pedestrians at all times. Section 4, Safety Requirements. All operators shall comply with bicycle regulations established under Massachusetts General Law. Operators under 16 years of age must wear a helmet while operating an electric bicycle. Electric bicycles operated between sunset and sunrise must display a white front light, a red rear reflector or rear light. Section 5, Prohibited Conduct. No person shall operate an electric bicycle in a reckless or negligent manner, operate an electric bicycle at speeds exceeding 20 miles per hour in pedestrian areas, carry passengers unless the device is specifically designed to accommodate passengers, modify or tamper with an electric bicycle in order to exceed lawful speed limits. Enforcement. This bylaw shall be enforced by the Saugus Police Department or other authorized officers of the town. Violation may be enforced through non-criminal disposition pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 21D. Section 7, Penalties. Graduated penalty schedule: first offense, written warning; second offense, $50 fine; third offense, $150 fine; fourth and subsequent offenses, $500 fine. If the operator is under 18 years of age, a parent or guardian may be notified. Section 8, safety education requirement for minors. If an operator under the age of 18 commits a second violation of this bylaw, the police department may require the operator to complete a bicycle or electric bicycle safety education program approved by the police department prior to the return of an impounded device or further operation on public ways within the town. Proof of completion of the safety program may be required before the operator is permitted to retrieve an impounded device. Section 9, impoundment. In addition to the penalties described above, an electric bicycle or motorized micromobility device used in violation of this bylaw may be temporarily secured by the police department when necessary to address an immediate public safety hazard or repeated violations by the police department under the following circumstances: a second or subsequent violation, operation in a reckless manner creating a public safety hazard, repeated violations by a minor. Impounded devices may be held for a period not exceeding 15 days. Release of the device shall require payment of outstanding fines and payment of an administrative impoundment fee. First impoundment, $150, second impoundment, $300, third or subsequent impoundment, $300. If the operator is under 18 years of age, the device shall be released only to a parent or legal guardian. Failure to retrieve an impounded device within 30 days may result in disposal in accordance with applicable law. Section 10, Police Violation Database. The Saugus Police Department shall establish and maintain a database documenting violations of this bylaw. The database shall include date and time of violation, location of violation, nature of violation, operator name and age if known, repeat offenses, and enforcement action taken. The purpose of this database is to track repeat offenders, identify locations experiencing frequent violations, and assist the town in evaluating enforcement needs. Section 11, designated restricted areas. The Chief of Police, in consultation with the Select Board, may designate specific sidewalks, public spaces, trails, parks, or other municipal property where operation is restricted when necessary for pedestrian safety. Notice of such restriction shall be provided through appropriate signage where practicable. Section 12, responsibility of parents or guardians. If the operator of an electric bicycle or motorized micromobility device is under 18 years of age, a parent or legal guardian may be required to appear with the minor to address violations and may be responsible for payment of fines where permitted by law. Section 13, public safety education and outreach. The Saugus Police Department, in cooperation with the Saugus Public Schools and other appropriate municipal departments, may develop and implement public education programs regarding the safe operation of electric bikes and motorized micromobility devices. Such programs may include safety awareness campaigns, distribution of educational materials to students and parents, participation in school safety programs, demonstrations regarding proper operation and helmet use, information regarding the legal requirements of this bylaw. The purpose of this section is to promote voluntary compliance and improve public safety. Section 14, severability. If any provision of this bylaw is held invalid, the remaining provisions shall remain in full force and effect. This bylaw shall take effect upon approval by the Attorney General and publication as required by law. Now, give me 1 second. Hold on. I believe we also have a recommendation on Article 33 from the Finance Committee.
Do you need mine, Steve?
What's that?
You need mine?
No, I got mine here. Oh, no. Yeah, you have yours handy? Oh, no, here you go. Never mind, I got it. 33. Without reading through this whole thing again, the Finance Committee, all right, recommended, hold on. The Finance Committee recommended that Article 33 be voted as written, voted to recommend the article as written. All right, so the Finance Committee voted in favor of it. And they were only chimed in on because of the, basically because of the fine structure. That became an issue that put it before that. All right, so do I have a second on Article 33 as presented? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on Article 33? Yes, Mr. Costello.
Martin Costello, Precinct 10. The entirety of this article is more than applicable. This is a town-wide problem, and I don't want to be construed as having thrown cold water on here, but according to the Boston Globe tonight, the state legislature is looking at this as well. So I have a question for either the town manager or more likely the town council. If the Massachusetts General Court decides to pass a statewide law dealing with this issue, are we going to be in conflict? Are we going to be in accommodation? Or well, where are we going to be? Not that we shouldn't do it, but on the horizon, it looks like the General Court of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is also looking at this issue right now. So if Mr. Vassapoli could answer that little question for me, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Costello.
Town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, I did see that article, but let me just say this, that even if the town meeting passes this bylaw, the Attorney General has to review it and approve it. So anytime this town meeting votes an amendment to the town bylaws or the zoning bylaws, it's subject to approval by the Attorney General. So not knowing what the language is in this legislation that the governor is proposing, I don't think this town meeting runs the risk of voting on this if they decide to approve it, and then it would be subject to the state legislation. But we'd have to look at the language of the state legislation before we could determine whether or not it's in contrary to what the state is proposing. So I think the town meeting can vote on it, and again, it's subject to the approval of the Attorney General, and we'd have to see what the state legislation is. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Vassapoli. Further discussion? Yes. That's all right.
I'd like to make a motion to, I'm going to direct people to Section 7 under penalties. That was supposed to say 300, not 500, so I'm going to have to make a motion to amend that $500 penalty under fourth and subsequent offense to 300. It does say 300? Oh, when you read it, it said 500. Does it say 300 on your copies? Well, then I apologize. Oh, it's in Section 9, okay. It still says 300. Yes, that's what I wanted. Yes, it's fine. These penalties are not, just to let you know, these penalties are not considered penal. They are considered administrative penalties. I was asked that at FinCom. We did have this discussion. We also had a discussion whether or not I had town council review it for form, and he did do me the honor of reviewing it for form. Thank you very much. And it did pass out. Obviously, he cannot comment on the legality. That is for the Attorney General to decide if and when it does pass through town meeting. I did send it over to the Chief of Police. We actually tried to set up a meeting with Chief Riccadelli. Everybody's schedules didn't coincide, so what I did end up doing was emailing it over to him, asking for his thoughts, input, any redactions, any additions. I did not receive a response. I just wanted everybody to know that I did go through the proper channels to get this reviewed, and I do hope that, given the town-wide issues with this, that you do support the article. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Marchese. All right, further discussion on Article 33. One second, Mr. Grabowski, and then we'll jump right over here. Thank you.
Town Manager, Mr. Moderator, fellow town meeting members, I do support this article, this bylaw change. I think that this community over the past several months has seen a strong outpouring of support for the activities of these people in our community. Just sitting outside of Town Hall prior to this meeting, I saw people on these electric bicycles and even motorized bicycles going up and down the sidewalk, had to be going 20, 30 miles an hour, and God help anybody that was in, especially an elderly person that was in their way. I think we've all seen it. There's been meetings about the community being in uproar over this. I live on Denver Street at 7:30 and between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning going to the high school, and at 2:30 in the afternoon coming back from the school on Denver Street. It's like a Daytona 500. You see kids on their bicycle, even their scooters are riding two to a person on a scooter, which I can't see how safe that is. No helmets, and God help the poor either pedestrian or the motor vehicle operator that gets in an accident and has to have that on their conscience about hitting some irresponsible person that's out there terrorizing the community. Several people on Hurd Avenue have seen a takeover of Hurd Avenue of 7 or 8 or 9 of these people on the street. So I fully support this article. My only question is, and I appreciate Ms. Marchese's comment, it says there in Section 6, this bylaw shall be enforced by the Saugus Police Department. The bylaw is only as good as the enforcement is, and I'm disappointed that our police chief or his representative could not be here today to tell us how they intend to enforce this and if they intend to enforce this. I know, motor vehicles are enough of a problem, but the proliferation of these motorized bicycles on our streets and sidewalks is getting out of hand, and I would like to hear from the police chief or his designated person how they intend to enforce this and how we can improve the safety of our residents, especially when these kids are riding on sidewalks. The streets are bad enough, but the sidewalks are just unacceptable, and they seem to have an arrogance about them that when somebody says something or makes a comment, they flip you the bird or give you some wise-ass comments that they're entitled to be doing what they're doing. So I fully support this, but I'm disappointed that the police chief didn't get back to this town meeting for some kind of recommendation about if he has the ability and how he intends to enforce this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Just introduce yourself to the folks at home, and the floor is yours.
Alicia Benito, Precinct 6. I'm a pediatric emergency nurse at Mass General Hospital. I urge you to support this article. I'm increasingly concerned about the amount of injuries in the pediatric population due to motorized electric bikes, or I even like to call them like illegal motorcycles. A leading cause of death for adolescents in America is unintentional injuries. I've witnessed firsthand the explosion of accidents, including massive head injuries, internal bleeding, traumatic fractures, and death. Nearly all of these injuries are preventable. Enforcement is deterrence. Having a bylaw, comprehensive language helps guide us. A major hotspot that I've always noticed is right behind the Belmonte. Always around dismissal, right around that bike path, people fly out, you see people tandem riding. It's just something that, as a nurse, I just fear about. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I want Saugus to lead the way on this issue and be proactive within the rules of the state. I hope you share my sense of urgency before another tragedy occurs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Federico.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to share a little insight that I've had recently. A few months ago, I've actually had coffee with Senator Creighton, and I asked him where the state actually stands on this. My concern is the time frame. They still haven't actually assigned, at least last time I spoke to them, they still haven't assigned a designation to a lot of these vehicles, e-bikes, e-scooters, and e-motos. So it's my opinion that the state is lacking. I did probe Senator Crichton in regards to a time frame. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to give me one. I did ask him, do you potentially think it may be a year out or longer? And from what I gathered, it is going to be more than a year time frame. So I ask you all to take it upon town meeting to protect literally the lives of the children in Saugus, as well as the e-bike riders and e-moto riders that are doing so safely and legally. And as one of the town meeting members just mentioned, the automobile drivers, it's not something that anybody should have to deal with on their conscience. It's unfathomable. So I do ask you guys to support it, as I do support this unequivocally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Federico. Any further discussion on Article 33? Ms. Panetta.
Good evening, Mr. Town Moderator, and congratulations on another 2 years of being our town moderator.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome all of the new town meeting members and all the returning town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. I applaud the town meeting member who put this article into the town meeting warrant. I myself wrote an article, an e-bike article, and I reached out to the police chief, and I found out one was already written, so I was happy to hear that. I did reach out to other communities to see if they themselves had e-bike articles. They don't. They're waiting for the state. My only question when I was reading this was on the police violation database, and if you did speak with the chief about creating a database. But regardless, I think we need to put something on the books. We can always amend it later. We see a lot of things. You saw that right here in this auditorium, the selectmen had an e-bike forum bringing education to the community. We need to do more, and I think this is the next best step of doing exactly that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Panetta. Any further discussion on Article 33? Yes, Mr. Ciccolini.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, my fellow board members, Mr. Manager, Mr. Town Council. I fully support this article. This has been a big bone of contention for a lot of people in this community. We did hold an e-bike forum. I believe this is the way that we show that we're going to stand by actually getting results and not just talk the talk. It's getting worse. The weather's getting nicer. Finally, we're getting some warm days, but you know what that's going to bring. And I encourage everybody, and please ask that everybody support this article. Anything we can do to make this move forward. I did contact the police chief, knowing that this article was coming forth. He thought there was another article coming and was planning on comparing both. But I can assure you that the police chief is behind this article, and my understanding is there's already been a couple of confiscations done, and there's also discussion about potentially getting some type of a vehicle so that we can actually get these bikes when we do impound them, so because they don't really fit in the cruises the way they are. So I ask everybody, if you could please support this article, it would be greatly appreciated. It's best for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ciccolini. Any further discussion on Article 31? Mr. Cogliano.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, I would like to commend the new town meeting member for her diligence in putting this together. This is obviously a problem throughout the town. I walk the rail trail every single day. I was going to say I think I use it more than anyone in the town, but I see Julie Serino here, so I know that's not true. She uses it more than I do. But this is a step in the right direction. I urge you all to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cogliano. Ms. Palumbo.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Sue Palumba, Town Meeting, Precinct 1. I definitely support this. I walk the bike, the walk trail, and I actually see Anthony too. And I think this is very important. Actually, there is a sign on the bike trail that says no motorized vehicles, and I see them all the time. And when I walk Monday through Friday at 7:15 a.m., and they just come we don't know which way to walk. It's like they come this way, they come in the back. We never know when we're going to get hit. So I'm just trying to figure out if the police, if they're doing anything about it now, because it does say no motorized vehicles, and why there are e-bikes on the walk trail. So that's just a question too. So why are there e-bikes if it says no motorized vehicles? So that's a concern too. But I am in support.
Thank you, Ms. Palumbo. Any further discussion on Article 33? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the Finance Committee's recommendation to recommend Article 33 as written, as presented this evening, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 33 is passed. All right, Article 34, we did have a request from a couple, actually, of town meeting members to see if we could possibly put that off until next week, because we have some people from the that would like to come in, some citizens that would like to come in and speak on it that couldn't be here this evening. So if no one has any objection at this time, I would entertain a motion to take Article 35 out of order. Okay, Article 35, Ms. Marchese moves Article 35 for consideration to see if the town will vote to express its position that the town should ensure timely, consistent, and transparent compliance with public records requests in accordance with Massachusetts law, and to encourage the town manager and appropriate municipal officials to take all necessary administrative steps to improve compliance, accountability, and public access to records, or to take any other action relative thereto. Resolution, whereas the Massachusetts Public Records Law, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 66, Section 10, establishes the public's right to obtain access to public records in a timely and meaningful manner, and whereas transparent and responsive government is essential to maintaining public confidence in municipal operations and decision-making, and whereas residents have a legitimate interest in obtaining public information concerning the actions, finances, and administration of their local government, and whereas timely responses to public records requests help promote accountability, reduce confusion, and strengthen trust between municipal government and the public, and whereas the town of Saugus should strive to maintain administrative practices that support full and prompt compliance with all legal obligations relating to public records, now therefore be it resolved that the Saugus Town Meeting hereby expresses its support for timely, consistent, and transparent compliance with the Massachusetts Public Records Law, and be it further resolved that town meeting encourages the town manager and other appropriate town officials to take all reasonable administrative steps necessary to ensure that public records requests are acknowledged, tracked, and responded to in accordance with applicable law, and be it further resolved that town meeting encourages the implementation or strengthening of administrative practices designed to improve public access, including clear record request tracking, timely communication with requesters, and regular review of outstanding requests, and be it further resolved that town meeting encourages the town manager to provide a public update, whether to the Board of Selectmen, town meeting, or through another public forum regarding the town's procedures and general performance in responding to public records requests. Do I have a second on Article 35 as presented? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on Article 35? Okay, seeing none. Yes, in the back. If you would, just introduce yourself to folks at home, and the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a resident of Saugus, Barbara Dewsnap, 15 Riverside Court, and I am support of Ms. Marchese's article here, as I have had an issue myself getting public records from the town on my requests, but I would like to know if she would like to amend her article to include the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 through 25, as I've also had an issue getting minutes of public meetings from different commissions and boards in the town. And they seem to have a confusion about if it's a public records request to a Massachusetts open meeting law. So they have no issue for it. So I'm just saying I support it, as I've had an issue with it since March of 2025 with the town, and I'd like to see if she could add the Massachusetts open meeting law to this Article 35. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any further discussion on Article 35? Yes, Ms. Marchese.
Ms. Dewsnap, I'm so sorry, but I don't think that I can amend this article right now to add an entire portion of Mass General laws to it. I'm not article, non-binding resolution, because it is a non-binding resolution. I do appreciate you asking, and I will definitely take that into consideration upon further meetings. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Just very quickly, public records are not optional in the state of Massachusetts. Mass General laws controls this. We need to comply with this. We need to tighten up our ability to comply with public records requests. There are numerous ones out there right now that I am aware of that have not been responded to. They have, receipts have been issued, so there is evidence of receipt, but there's been no further response past the 10 days. And I just ask that you, we reiterate as a town meeting panel completely that we try to do better in compliance with the law on public records. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Marchese. Any further discussion on Article 35? All right, seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of this non-binding, Article 35, the non-binding resolution as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 35 has passed. All right, give me 1 second here. All right, as a courtesy to Ms. Panetta, Ms. Lincoln moves Article 36 for consideration, to see if the town will vote to amend the... Hang on 1 second, we can discuss this once it's in the record. To see if the town will amend the town bylaws by deleting the section 602.10 in its entirety and inserting in its place thereof the following. 602.10, no person shall fire or discharge any firearm or paintball guns, air guns, bow and arrow, spring-operated guns, such as BB or pellet guns, or hunt, trap, or bait any animal within the limits of any park, playground, or public property, except with the consent of the Board of Selectmen. Hunting is defined as the human practice of seeing, pursuing, and killing wildlife or feral animals. No person shall hunt, fire, or discharge any firearm or paintball guns, air guns, bow and arrow, spring-operated guns such as BB or pellet guns or on any private property, except with the consent of the owner or legal occupant thereof. This bylaw shall not apply to the lawful defense of life or property, nor to any law enforcement officer acting in the discharge of his duties. This is submitted by Deborah Panetta and Precinct 1 town meeting members. So I have, do I have a second on Article 36 as presented? All right, Article 36 is moved and seconded. I do have one amendment in writing that was submitted. It says, I'd like to, this was submitted by Peter Delios. I'd like to amend Article 36 to only apply to Prankers Pond and surrounding areas. Do I have a second on the amendment? All right. So we have an article, we have an amendment to it. So first, I would take any discussion on the amendment to Article 36. Ms. Panetta. Yeah. Well, right now, we're just speaking on the amendment, the request to amend it to apply to Prankers Pond and the surrounding area only.
Okay.
1 second.
Again, good evening, town meeting members. My name is Deborah Panetta. I live on 1 Bellevue Street, so I'm just going to speak on the amendment. If the town meeting feels more comfortable voting just on the Prankers Pond piece of no hunting, I'm fine with that. It started off with several people calling me, residents from Precinct 1 specifically, about some deplorable things that were happening around Prankers Pond, and I'll talk more about that when we speak on the main motion. And there are people sitting in the back, a lot of people from Precinct 1 in the back. I have recommendations from the police, from all of town, but if town meeting feels more comfortable just speaking and just voting this evening on the Prankers Pond, I respect that, and I do appreciate you taking this up this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Panetta. Any further discussion, Mr. I'm sorry.
Quite a few people that were advised not to come tonight because we didn't think we'd get to 36. A lot of them have young families. But
You know, if you would, you can make it out. You can make a motion. Just step up to the
Dan
mic.
Kelly, Precinct 9. So we had several families, Mr. Moderator, that they wanted to come. We advised them probably never going to get to Article 36, so wait till next week. So if we could please, as a motion, put this off till next week.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a motion from Mr. Kelly to table Article 36 until next week for some people who are looking to come out and speak on it that couldn't be here this evening. So what we're going to do, we need to vote first on the first amendment that's before us, which is, before we can vote to table it, we would have to either amend it or not amend it. So any further discussion on the proposed amendment to Article 36 that would limit it to only Prankers Pond and the surrounding area? Yes, Mr. Manugian.
Moderator, I appreciate the concern of my colleague from Precinct 9, but I also see there are people here from Precinct 1 that have come tonight, and although we may table it, in this non-debatable, that type of a motion, there is a opportunity at this time at least to give these people the opportunity to be heard on this matter, and if town meeting so wishes to lay this on the table so that the other people can come and be heard, we should not stifle out any voices and expect people to keep coming back. So I may have no problem tabling this, but I'd like to give the people that came the opportunity to be heard as well. There may be some people that are against this as well that are here to want to be heard. So can we use the amendment discussion as an opportunity to let the people that speak that came? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manugian. Again, at this time, we're speaking only on, I'm looking for discussion on the amendment, not the article as a whole, but the amendment to have this only apply to Prankers Pond and the surrounding area. Once that amendment issue is settled, then we can go on to either tabling or continuing the discussion on the full article. Yes, Mr. Grabowski.
Mr. Moderator, fellow town meeting members, on the amendment, I have a problem with the wording of the amendment. The amendment says Prankers Pond and surrounding areas. Well, who's delineating what the surrounding areas are at Prankers Pond? And the other comment I have is, why should the amendment pertain only to Prankers Pond? We have a whole community here in the town of Saugus. I don't like to delineate one particular area in town where a prohibition on this particular activity can happen. And I guess my other question would be, maybe to town council, who enforces this? I mean, if you were to say that people can't hunt in the Prankers Pond area, who has the responsibility of going down there and enforcing and telling people you can't be down here hunting? Mr. Vasapoli? Mr. Vasapoli, please.
Thank you, Mr. Grabowski.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, the way the article is drafted, it's to prohibit the hunting within the limits of any park, playground, or public property, except with the consent of the Board of Selectmen. So I also have an issue with, you could say Pranker's Pond, that's owned by the town, that's public property. So if you want to limit it just to Pranker's Pond, I would say Pranker's Pond and not use the words or surrounding area, because I do have an issue with what is the surrounding area. I think the intent and I think the amendment is directed at just restricting hunting on the Pranker's Pond property and not additional surrounding area, because the surrounding area is probably private property and some public property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vespoli. Further discussion? Yes, Mr. Delios.
I'm sorry. I didn't answer the second question. And the second question was, how would this be enforced? This will be an amendment to the town bylaws. So it would be a violation of the bylaw to hunt on wherever you're restricting it for. So the police would enforce this bylaw. Thank you.
Hi, Peter Delios, Precinct 10. The reason for the amendment was that I think there's a little lack of sportsman hunting education and I'm not trying to say anyone here doesn't know that, but there's some people that may lack the knowledge of that. Now, hunting is a sport that for generations has gone on, and from my recollection, that you could hunt in Saugus with landowners' permission, if I'm correct. But needless to say, reading this article, not letting someone shoot a bow and arrow in their backyard if they have a significant backyard with targets and a proper backdrop. We had a gold medal archery winner who won the Olympics right here from Saugus, and I'm sure she shot in her backyard as well as going to sportsman clubs. I just think that this is a little too harsh on people that do sporting activities, outdoor sporting activities. I'm sorry that the people of Precinct 1 saw, from what I heard, deer carcasses or whatnot, whatever they saw there, and the hunters, whoever hunted there, didn't do correctly. They didn't do their due diligence. They didn't process the animals correctly. But I just feel that the whole town shouldn't be penalized because of what happened at Pranker's Pond. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Wickham? Yep.
Maureen Whitcomb, Precinct 4. I like this. I like this article that was put out, but in her article, it did state hunting, not target practice, not bow and arrow with targets and a backdrop. That would be different. I enjoy hunting. As far as target practice, I do it safely in New Hampshire. Target practice with the bow and arrow would be using a target, not shooting a deer, not going after a coyote, not shooting little rabbits. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wickham. I'm just going to, just so people understand my thought process on this, seldom do we run into this. Like on the last article, we did ask people, can we push that off till next week, because there are people who want to come and talk about it. Tonight we have some people who are here specifically to talk about it that don't want to come back next week, and then we have some people who couldn't be here that are asking to put it off to next week. So I would like to, at this time, any citizens who are here who would like to speak on the issue, non-town meeting members, if they'd like to get up and speak. And then what we will do is, just given the hour we're at this point, at some point we're going to end up tabling this article, and we'll retake it up at the beginning of the next town meeting, and anyone who's there can speak on it again at that time, and we'll move forward. That's where I'm planning on going here. But if there's anyone, non-town meeting members, that in the audience that would like to speak on the article, please come forward and introduce yourself to the folks at home, and you can have your say. Thank you. Yes, right now we are speaking, I'm sorry, still on the amendment to, that would limit this only to Pranker's Pond, because we need to vote on that and then move on to the article. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Phil Barbanti. I live at 17 Holland Street in Saugus here. I'm also a member of the Knights of Columbus. And Mike, first of all, I just want to say I'm not against hunting, and I believe in the Second Amendment. And my concern is safety over at Pranker's Pond. We've had people parking there on occasion, and it's private property, and if you don't have business with us, you're not supposed to be in there. And I know they put the hunters park in there. And my other concern is with all the building going on in Saugus, these animals only have a certain area to go to, and that's easy prey for the hunters there, because in that area. I mean, that's not a challenge to them as far as I'm concerned. It's easy hunting, and I'm opposed to it in practice. And it's a safety issue because a lot of people frequent that area. That's like a park there. Our families can go there, but you got to be careful. Safety, you never know what's going to happen. People walk their dogs. Kids go in through there, and I'm just, it's a safety thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, any further discussion on the amendment to Article 36 to apply it only to Pranker's Pond? I'm sorry? Yes. All right. Anyone else here from the public wishing to speak? Yes, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for this opportunity to speak. Thank you, board members, for being here tonight. I'm here tonight to express my concerns about the conditions at Pranker's Pond. Oh, excuse me, my name is Caroline Knowles. I am a Precinct 1 member, and I live in Precinct...
Carolyn, your address, please.
Oh, Pillings Road. I'm here tonight to express my concerns about the conditions at Pranker's Pond. As you may know, the multiple developments of several hundred new apartments have encroached upon the surrounding woods. The amount of open green space has drastically decreased. As a result, the urban growth within the town means less green space. When I learned that hunting was legal, I was shocked. I learned this firsthand when I was about 11 years old, and my dog got loose. From my backyard, we could hear yelping in the distance. My brother went into the woods and found her trapped leg in a spring bear trap. Sadly, our beloved Abby succumbed to her injuries and she never recovered. Recently, our family got a dog who happens to resemble a deer in both coloring and movement, and I found myself back in the woods of my childhood. Pranker's remains a popular destination for bird watchers, anglers, and dog walkers. It is one of the last places in Saugus that feels protected. All living things can enjoy a sense of home, a sense of peace and natural beauty alongside the wildlife that call it home. However, that sense of peace is disrupted during hunting season. It is very unnerving to walk past the deer stands in the trees above, especially when my dog is the same color as a deer and prances like a deer. I'm also concerned that without an active game warden and proper oversight, violations are going unchecked. This is especially true for the area around one particular deer stand. One Saturday morning in 2025, I was about to take a walk into the woods with my young niece and nephew when a neighbor emerged from the trail. He informed me that someone had just killed a deer and was gutting and throwing the entrails of the deer into the Saugus River. I was mortified to hear that this was happening in a public place, and especially on a trail I walk daily. This past season alone, multiple troubling incidents have occurred, all in the vicinity of one particular deer stand. These are just a few of the occurrences I've witnessed. Fellow dog walker discovered the cut hide and legs of a skinned fawn with its head removed. As we got closer to the deer stand, my dog picked up the scent of that deer that had clearly been hunted near that deer stand. On a different day, I found a box of thumbtacks scattered on the trail in front of the deer stand. The Knights of Columbus is in close proximity to the same deer stand, and people are parking there as well. Deer hunting season ends on December 31st, and regulations require that deer stands to be removed within a month. Yet, as of late March, at least one deer stand remained in place, that same stand. Recently, at the Precinct 1 community cleanup I participated in, I found this bait box right in front of the deer, right around that deer stand, and that's illegal. No one is overseeing that the laws are being enforced. There was another disturbing incident which occurred, and a deer carcass, again with the head removed, was left by the chain link fence at the entrance of the pond. It's terribly upsetting to see that someone has no regard for the law in leaving wanton waste, which is another direct hunting violation. The forest surrounding Pranker's Pond is slowly dwindling. Given the increased development and residential density, hunting in this area is arguably anywhere in Saugus feels increasingly unsafe. Saugus is not getting any larger, only much smaller and dense. While there's a 500-foot bylaw in place, the reality is that homes and developments are now much closer to these wooded areas. In fact, my parents found an arrow in their yard which abuts the forest. Under these conditions, continuing to allow hunting poses unnecessary risks. Thank you for your time and consideration in moving forward with this important matter.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Good evening. Margaret Lankow, 5 Twin Springs Drive. I'm supporting this article because I walk every day with my dog at Pranker's Pond, and I've seen that carcass. I have a picture of it on my phone, last November 24th of 2025. It's, I'm not against deer hunting, but I think in this area, given the use at Pranker's Pond, walkers with dogs, kids with bikes, families, bird watchers, I think it's unsafe. I was surprised to go there during last fall and learned that there was bow and arrow hunting season. There are no signs posted. There are no signs that say bow and arrow hunting season or hunting season is from mid-September to the end of December. That's a long time. And I didn't know I should be wearing an orange hat or an orange vest, or that my dog should wear an orange vest. It would certainly make it safer, but it seems like there should be, if there's going to be hunting, there should be signs, and there is access to Pranker's Pond from several points, Cliff Road, where Barnes & Noble used to be. You can come in from Home Depot, over on Central Street, CrossFit, and Cliff Road, plus other, and the KFC. So if you're going to have hunting, there should be signs posted telling us the dates and what we should do, and the hunters should also wear orange. So for me, it's a safety issue for all the people who use Pranker's Pond, so I fully support this article. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Hi, Julie Serino, 15 Foster Street. Let me first say I'm not against hunting. I just feel that Pranker's Pond is too small of an area. It's almost like the hunters, it's like shooting a fish in a bowl. The area is very small, So I'm against it at Prankers Pond. I would like to express my deep concern regarding the continued allowance of hunting in the close proximity to residential areas such as Prankers Pond. This is a space where families walk with their children, neighbors gather, and pets roam freely. The presence of hunting in such a setting raises serious safety, ethical, and community concerns that I believe must be addressed. There are safety risks to consider. The range of modern hunting weapons extends far beyond what people realize. A single lapse of judgment could have devastating consequences. With the high foot traffic, children playing, families walking dogs, and individuals enjoying nature, the margin of error is simply too small. Personally, I worry about my yellow lab as I walk there, whose coloring could easily be mistaken for a deer, particularly in a low light or dense brush. The possibility of such a tragic mistake is deeply troubling. In addition, there are concerns about property damage and handling of wounded animals. An injured deer fleeing into the yards or public spaces creates both the safety hazard and an emotional burden to the residents who may have to witness or be forced to deal with the aftermath. The lack of clear protocols for recovery in the residential zones only adds more concern. Beyond the fear of misidentification, I'm deeply concerned about the behavior I've witnessed from some hunters in this area. There have been instances where proper protocols have not been followed, including failure to notify wildlife authorities as required and not identifying themselves with orange clothing. I've walked many times with my dog, seen somebody up in the stand, and had I not looked in that general area, I would not have known they were there because they blended right in. I've seen animals' remains discarded into the stream and cuts of animals behind where children and dogs play. My dog found it and rolled in it. That's her job. She's a hunter. So it was disgusting having to go home and wash my dog with deer carcass all over them. This is not only disrespectful to the environment, but it also raises serious health and sanitation concerns for everyone who used the area. And this is totally against hunter's code. I know that. A hunter knows they take the kill with them. Our community deserves to feel safe in these places where we live and walk and gather. Thank you for your time and attention to this important matter.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, any further discussion on the amendment? Mr. Palante.
Matthew Palante, Precinct 2. I'm a no on the amendment. I'd like to see this town-wide, not just Prankers Pond. There was a deer stand found in Caddy's Farm by Saugus PD last summer, which abuts, residential and the bike trail. So if we're going to pass this, I think it should be town-wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Yes.
Hi, Susan Dunn from Precinct 1. I am definitely in favor of this article. I don't understand why other areas, parks, playgrounds would not be included, like Mr. Palante said. To me, you shouldn't be shooting when you have family, friends, dogs walking through. Doesn't make sense, but whatever it is, we have to start somewhere. But I'm not in favor of, really just doing prankers. I think it should be every park, every playground.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Herman Durant.
Hello, good evening. Stacy Herman Durant, Precinct 1. I just want to reiterate that I am in support of the article as written. I think it should be town-wide. I think we are a densely populated community, and I think that the safety of our residents and children and pets should come forefront. There are definitely places in Massachusetts to hunt safely. I just do not believe that our town is one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delios.
I get everyone, Peter Delios, Precinct 10, I get everyone's concern, and I'm empathetic with everyone, but I'm also a sportsman, and there's other sportsmen in the room here as well. But there's something that some of you younger folks here might not know, and some of you older folks might remember from the 90s. If we ban hunting completely, you'll have Ipswich on your hands. You'll have Lyme disease coming through the town rampant because the deers attract the ticks. They create more ticks and more Lyme disease, and it will be chaos. The state, because the folks in Ipswich said, no hunting, no hunting, no hunting on my property. So the state had to go hire a professional hunter to come in and slaughter all the deer because they were filled with Lyme disease. So you got a double-edged sword here. You cull, the hunters cull the animals so we can keep them in control. You'll also have deer running out onto Route 1, and you'll have accidents, more accidents. And look, we all love deer. They're great. They're fun animals to look at. Some people like to go hunting. Some people shoot them to have food on their table. If we lived up in Maine or Vermont, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. So let's think about this logically, and let's, a lot of you are worried about accidents. Well, when was the last hunting accident in Saugus? Can anybody tell me? I don't recall. So when I think this next meeting, since we're postponing it, we should have an environmental officer here that can explain and educate people more on hunting, because a lot of us here don't know about it.
Thank you, Mr. Delios. Gentleman in the rear.
Hi, my name is Timothy Thurrott. I am not currently a Saugus resident, but my family's been from this area for a very long time. I live at 7 Wardwell Place.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. As a non-Saugus resident, does anyone have any objection to this gentleman speaking? Hearing none, go ahead, sir.
Okay. I live in Lynn currently. I'm from Medford, but my family's been from this general area since really the beginning of time. So I just want to read the letter that I sent off to selectmen when I first heard about the proposed ban on bow hunting in the city, which is in the town. I'm writing to you to express my concern with the proposed hunting changes. I am a public servant for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and have a strong understanding of the importance of laws and regulations. If there are instances where individuals violate laws and regulations, those individuals should be held accountable. There are a lot of benefits to ethical hunting related to both the conservation and the community. Governor Haley is very vocally supporting updating Massachusetts hunting laws in order to bolster the economy so that local hunters do not go out of state buying licenses, buying food, buying gas, buying sporting goods and related items while there. Help maintain a healthy ecosystem for deer and other wildlife. Improving public safety by helping to reduce the number of vehicle deer strikes. Providing 100,000 healthy meals to families and veterans in need over the last year alone through the venison donation by Massachusetts hunters. All hunters in Massachusetts need to complete a comprehensive hunter safety course and be licensed. Bow hunting shots average in the 25 to 30 yard range, less than 100 feet, at a target that really well within visual range. Bow hunters set up deep within woods, away from trails, and follow setback distances, which are set by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Bow hunting is very personal and affords families the opportunity to harvest a healthy food option while enjoying the solace of nature. For me, bow hunting not only allows me to ethically source healthy protein for my family, it allows me to connect with my family history. As a proud Native American, bow hunting is imperative to my cultural identity. The way my father, my grandfather, and a long line of ancestors have respectfully and responsibly hunted these lands since the dawn of time, that I would not otherwise be able to do. I would be available to answer any questions people had surrounding safety or other matters, but I mean, that's really, for me, what it comes down to. If there are individuals that have violated laws, who've dumped deer carcasses, that is not allowed by Massachusetts laws. Work with local police, work with the environmental police to make sure that this doesn't occur and hold these people accountable. You know, most times people don't even know we're there. People, I've been hunting this area for a very long time, and I really appreciate, all the concerns, especially around Pranker's Pond. I've heard of that before, that there's been deer carcasses. Those people aren't even hunting this area. They could have got those deer out of state and just dumped them there because they happen to live nearby another Massachusetts city. Who knows? But whoever those people are, they should be held accountable. And somebody like myself or my friends who are ethical hunters and are responsible and care about the environment are not out there just to slaughter an animal. We're out there to provide food for our families. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 1 second, if I could. At this, given the hour, right now it's about 22 past 10. And in both because of the hour and in the fairness of seeing that this is vetted significantly on both sides with everyone having an opportunity to speak, I would entertain a motion at this point to suspend this town meeting and to pick up this conversation on May 11th, at which time we could vote on the I hear your motion, but I think the amendment is also, again, I'm looking at this from the perspective of the people who got an opportunity to speak this evening and the people who requested an opportunity to speak and asked that this be put off till next week, and I'm trying to accommodate both so that everybody can get their viewpoint in, and then we can vote accordingly. So that's why I would ask, yes. I'm sorry. Again, that's part of my goal in carrying this conversation over to the next meeting, to make sure that all sides of this are vetted and everybody has an opportunity to speak on it before we bring it to a vote. I had asked if there was anybody, any citizens, not town meeting members, but any citizens who wanted to speak on the issue, and I was ready to recognize them to do so. Do we have anybody at this point? Yes. Please come up. Again, my goal is to make sure that everybody who wants to speak on this has an opportunity to, and it's thoroughly vetted before we bring it to a vote.
Good evening. My name is Brian Mineta, 11 Fairview Street, Saugus, Mass. I'm here tonight because Deborah Panetta has drawn up an article, and I spoke to her a few weeks ago at the town cleanup down Pranker's Pond and asked her why she wrote this. Her reply was, "My son saw a dead deer 10 years ago, and there's a building on top of the hill 800 feet away. The state has regulations set, and people are following them down there. I hope you will educate yourself before coming up with this article. Governor Haley is pushing to make hunting seasons longer 7 days a week, lessen restrictions from 500 feet to 250 feet to a dwelling to make it easier on hunters to control the population. As a lifelong resident with generational ties to the town, I am an avid outdoorsman, conservationist, and a steward of the land. Always leave it better than it was when I got there, and it must be the Boy Scout in me. I grew up playing in these woods, fishing in the ponds and rivers in this town, where people have had for hundreds of years. It really is someplace special. You can make a living on the water pursuing wildlife, lobsters and fish. We are close to the city, yet you can still hunt archery equipment from the end of October to the end of December, providing healthy, organic food security for your family, which my family relies heavily on the meat that I harvest, and many other families in the community, young and old. Many hunters share their harvest with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, over 100,000 males. Someone already touched on that. Unfortunately for the deer, life does not end well. They often freeze to death, starve, or get hit by a vehicle, or worse than that, they get eaten alive by a coyote. So being harvested for food is not the worst way for them to go. Deer vehicle crashes are up 51% in the last year in Massachusetts. 1,100 people total have been hurt in the Commonwealth, 4 people killed in the year 25 alone. When deer get overpopulated in one spot, they need to move across roads and highways, causing collisions. No food to support them. You don't have to be a wildlife expert to see that the population is overloaded in the town. You can't go for a round of golf at Cedar Glen without seeing 15 to 20 deer, 5 coyotes. You can't walk down Appleston Street without getting attacked by a turkey. Many residents have pets killed by coyotes. Most hunters in town will harvest as many coyotes as possible. I was out one day last year on town property where I witnessed 7 coyotes in a pack, and 2 of them had mange. That would tear your family dog up. You can't walk around town without getting a tick. I have firsthand experience with Lyme disease. It is a miserable thing to deal with. And when you stop hunting, more ticks, more Rocky Mountain spotted fever, plus virus. I will end this with, there has never been an accident in town in the hunting history, and it's only archery equipment only, no guns. The town sale has a bow hunter on it, and if you stop hunting in a few years, you'll be paying hunters to come in and control the population. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Sean McCarthy, a longtime resident, graduate of Saugus High School, and while I no longer live in town, I do still recreate here, and my family still resides in town.
With that, 1 second, sir. Does anyone have an issue with Mr. McCarthy speaking as a non-resident? Seeing none, go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
His address, please. Your address, please.
Yeah, 25 Pearly Street, Lynn, Mass.
I'm sorry, 25 what?
Pearly, P-E-R-L-E-Y.
And where?
Lynn.
Thank you.
I'm here to express my opposition to the proposed hunting ban and to urge careful consideration to the real-world impact such a policy would have on individuals, families, and community. For many people, hunting is a lawful, safe, responsible activity practiced with great care and respect. The vast majority of hunters follow established safety standards, receive formal training, and take personal responsibility serious. Hunter education programs have been in place for generations, and hunters consistently demonstrate a strong culture of safety and accountability. Hunting is also an important practical way for many families to provide clean, healthy, and affordable food, particularly white-tailed deer. It is also important to know that archery hunting for white-tailed deer is widely recognized as safe and highly controlled method, especially in areas where firearm use may be more restricted. Archery hunting requires hunters to operate at close range, promotes careful target identification, and results in very limited zone of risk compared to other outdoor activities. These characteristics are precisely why archery seasons often used in more densely populated and suburban areas. Rather than improving public safety, a sweeping hunting ban would unfairly penalize responsible individuals who have demonstrated safe and ethical behavior for decades. Such a ban would remove a proven low-risk activity that is deeply rooted in personal responsibility and long-standing tradition. For these reasons, I respectfully urge you to oppose the ban on hunting. I also had an opportunity to exchange emails with Deborah and to address the issue down at Prankers Pond. An important point, hunting safety in the situation at Prankers, hunting, including archery hunting, is safe and well-established activity, particularly when conducted in designated areas with appropriate rules in place. There are already setbacks and additional safeguards designed specifically to provide additional layers of safety in shared use spaces. These measures exist to protect all users of the land, and when followed, they are effective. The situation at Prankers appears to be the result of the actions of one or two bad actors, not the reflection of hunters as a whole. The vast majority of hunters are safe, responsible, and respectful of shared space and other uses. Treating this as a systemic hunting problem risks punishing responsible individuals for behavior they did not engage in. If the rules were violated at Prankers, that behavior should be addressed directly and appropriately through enforcement and accountability for those involved. Targeted responses are far more effective than blanket measures and maintain fairness while preserving safe access for responsible users. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else in the rear? Yes. If you would, just introduce yourself to the folks at home.
Derek Hickman, 34 Biscayne, Precinct 5. I just want to clear up a few things about what was said earlier. Leg hold traps, first off, I think they were banned in like 96 or something like that. So if someone used that, it's a violation, clearly. The use of orange, that's typically after the week of Thanksgiving when people have to use orange, because statewide, that's when shotgun season opens up. So archery season, you can use camo 100%. What I've experienced around town is I walk the woods always. I see lots of coyote dens. I see a lot of homeless encampments. I see deforestation. There's an overpopulation of deer, and what that does is it promotes disease. It promotes all sorts of problems. We have increased car accidents that could drive up insurance. Yes, we do have limited access, but the fact that we're shooting them in a bucket, that's not the case. The deer will travel to where food is, and if the woods is deforested, they're going to travel everywhere. So some people might have their own, abutted property next to land, and you see where they're actually going into the neighborhoods and they're eating the ornamental plants and stuff like that. I'm sure everybody's had some, or knows of somebody that's doing that, where the deer are just causing all sorts of property damage. But one thing that really concerns me in this town is more so, the dog bags, fecal matter. You guys are talking about environmental issues. Everything needs to come in balance. You got erosion from people riding around in bikes, things like that. But the homeless people, they're all around town. There was a sex offender in the woods living in there for 3 years, and no one knows about that. There was people that were pirating off porches in the woods, but how do you know? You don't know this neighbor. You may know some neighbors, but you don't know who's living in your woods anywhere, and they're everywhere, and it's dangerous. The amount of fires that are going, the deforestation, how it all starts from the bottom. There needs to be plant life for them. So if everything's out of balance, now a fire gets started. Now there's no underbrush. There's nothing for them to eat. So the fires have been spreading, and even more so. We don't know if that's linked to just people just being an arson, or just if it's the homeless people. I'm concerned about that. The dangers of that. I've addressed a couple of the people in the woods, and some of them aren't all that friendly. Some of them are using drugs. Some of them have issues, and they're in our woods. I walk the woods. There are lots of ticks, and when a deer doesn't have enough food to eat and things like that, it's going to have to go extended areas to get food, and with that, they are dropping ticks everywhere, and there's not enough, prevention with that. One thing is, with the laws, it's 150 feet from a house or dwelling. No, 500 feet from a house or dwelling, but 150 feet from a road. And once again, there's no shotgun use or discharge of firearm in town. Now, that's not to say federal waters are actually outside of any town or whatever laws. So where a tide will flow, you're allowed to go use and shoot waterfowl, ducks, and things like that. I don't know if anybody even knew that can happen in Saugus, regardless of discharge of firearm. That's allowed. That might be news to some of you guys. So another thing is, if you do see and I have seen people bait, I've seen piles of bait in areas, but these few people that are causing problems around town, they need to be addressed. So you have access to environmental police, and I don't know if you guys have seen that there's also been an increase in environmental police around town. Unfortunately, there have been some offenders, and that shouldn't speak for the rest of the hunters who like to promote good eating and all that sort of stuff. I particularly don't want to go to a grocery store and get my food. I'd rather have something that's wild, full of nutrition, not something that's starving and given foods that it can only eat based on what the farmer provides. It's part of my heritage. I want to continue doing this sort of thing. I think I think it's fine. I find it's an absurd and slightly an attack on hunters as a whole in this community. And I apologize for those people who were negligent in leaving things, carcasses in the woods. I know of some butchers, New Hampshire and all, that they require you to take the bones back. And some people get lazy and sloppy and will just throw them in the woods. And someone did talk about that as wanton waste. There's a law there. And people should be, caught, fined, whatever, if they're violating these things. The other thing is that with the collisions with cars, that could also drive up our car insurance and such. And unfortunately, as someone else mentioned, if you guys have noticed, there's been an increase of attacks on animals with coyotes and things like that in the town. And we know that, the disease with that, it's just...
Sir, I am going to ask you just to if
you
could
wrap it up.
your comments, because we're at the time limit.
Yeah, sure. I'm just kind of trying not to be redundant with some of this stuff. The other thing is that's a question for me is it's wildlife. So if someone foul hooks a fish, all right, what happens there? That's you weren't intended to. You're a sporting fisherman and you foul hook a fish and it dies. Now what? I'm in violation. The other thing is Griswold Pond through the state. It's stocked with trout. People take those and eat them. I prefer not to eat anything farm raised. I wouldn't do that. But that's something that would be with this. That's wildlife. You're taking wildlife. Okay. It's just absurd. It's just too much in my opinion. It's overkill. I'm sorry for those people who are I feel like it's a small population that are offended by this, but it's hunting. It's primitive. It's something it's in our instincts to do, is to hunt, gather, and all that sort of stuff. You guys just try to consider all that. There are good people out there that hunt and respect the woods. And I'm one of them. I come out, I go in the woods with a bag. I make sure I take out the trash. I see trash bags.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Yes.
Respectful coexistence. It's important to respect that both hunters, hikers, dog walkers, bird watchers all have a right to the use of public lands. What was that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jennifer Demick from 11 Fairview. Where was I? You do not have to avoid the woods during hunting season. I know it sounds like, I think a good idea that someone brought up over here was posting signs that it is hunting season so everyone can protect themselves and be aware. Just as hunters must follow their setback rules, so must a dog owner abide by leash laws. I heard someone say, my dog runs free. That's not supposed to happen. They should be on a leash. So everyone should follow the rules. Speaking of the setback, it's important to remember that setback rules are the same in Saugus as they are in the rest of the state. Everyone who does hunting must be licensed, and there are many rules to follow, and rules are enforced. But just like traffic rules, EPO can't be everywhere, just like a police officer can't catch everyone who speeds. So I think it's kind of almost silly to say that just because a rule is there, it can't be broken. It shouldn't be, but it happens all the time. It would be nice if there was more involvement. Sounds like a lot of people didn't know hunting was even allowed in Saugus, so again, I think a sign would be appropriate. I understand that encountering a dead animal in the wild can be unsettling, but it's also important to recognize that wildlife deaths are a natural part of the ecosystem. Hunting is a responsible and appropriate way to help maintain animal populations. Often, as someone already stated, a deer could starve over the winter, especially in overpopulated areas where there's not much to eat, which seems to be happening here in Saugus. I would rather see a deer leave this earth in a humane way and be used to feed a family, my family. Deer meat is very healthy. It's got one of the lowest fats of meat out there, so it's a wonderful source for consumption. I would importantly like to point out that Maura Healy is trying to, as someone already mentioned, is trying to expand hunting opportunities here in Massachusetts, while we are trying to limit them, which I think is maybe not the right way to go. I think people need to be a little more open-minded, again, about sharing the woods. In her efforts to expand hunting, there was a big mass wildlife recommendation article put out in March of this year, and it had a lot of support, actually, a lot more than you would probably imagine. So I think it would be something that would be nice for everyone to read. One second, sorry. Because in that article, it mentions that most hunting injuries are caused by falls from tree stands and do not involve non-hunters. There has never, and this was quoted in that, there has never been a non-hunter killed by hunting in Massachusetts. That sounds like it might startle some, because I think a lot of people are worried about safety. But again, there's a lot of safety that goes into hunting. I also was involved in the recent Prankers Pond cleanup, and a lot of trash was removed. I believe the more immediate and preventable issue that we could talk about is the preventable problems we're facing in Saugus with illegal dumping and littering. This kind of pollution harms wildlife, it affects our water quality, and impacts our overall health and safety of our community. And we should better protect our woods and not limit the use of them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other non-town meeting members who'd wish to make public comment on Article 36 at this time? Okay, seeing none, we do have a motion that was made to suspend this evening's meeting and pick up the discussion next Monday night. All in favor? Opposed? We will see you next Monday night at 7:30, guys.
All town meeting members, please place your name plates on the table.